Pre-workout fails.
We got some stories for you, and if you got stories for us, of course send them our way. We'll repost them, and we'll tag you with it. It'll be awesome. And we got some, we'll tell you a couple people you've seen lately, which is just hilarious.
And we will be throwing ourselves under the bus because I've had my own pre-workout fails. So I'll share some of those stories about what not to do. So we're going to cover what to do, what not to do. How many people have taken your pre-workout just a little too late in the day? Raise your hand.
With those midnight workouts, those PMs, when they should not be that late of a PM. But I got a quick one for you. So I've been following this kid for a while. He's 17 years old, late high school, and he claims he's the strongest 17-year-old in the world. Okay, he does have close to a 700-pound deadlift. I don't know. I think he's kind of juicing, to be honest. But whatever, we can get into that another time. Like 7K followers on Instagram. And I watched this kid, and he starts getting sponsored by this pre-workout. Pretty hilarious. And so he shows himself taking dry scoops before his workouts. And he goes, is trying to hit new PR of I think it was 715 on his deadlift. And just starts gushing blood from his nose. Bloody noses. And I've seen this before. And I was like, dude, you're 17 years old. What did you take? It's like this Gorilla Factor BS, mumbo jumbo. He double scooped it, of course. Probably blew out some blood vessels, butthole out the other end, whatever it was. But bloody noses, man, that is something that should not occur ever while lifting. I know that for sure. So don't be that guy. Find some pre-workouts that work. But here, got any other stories for us? That was just someone else, but that was a third.
So my issue with pre-workouts is multifold. One is, do you need them? In reality, no. Especially if you're a coffee drinker, you can only push that stimulation button so many times in the course of a given day, so many times in the course of your life. And if you're trying to work out, what's more important, that you're aggro and you have an aggro workout and then you can't sleep, or you have, say, a moderate workout and then you have a great night's sleep, right? So you recover from your workouts when you get deep and nourishing sleep, not when you're all aggro and jittery and you can't rest.
But I love my 300 milligram Nano Explode. Are you saying I can't take it at 9 o'clock at night at my 24-hour fitness?
Great. Have half a scoop at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Nah, I didn't have time. Sorry.
And then you'll be normal.
But I prefer to sleep from around 2 a.m. to about 7 a.m. So that quality of sleep I get for 5 hours is intense.
Well, and then it's a common sense thing, right? So what goes up must come down. And if you want to come down when you're up, are you going to then add something else to come down? And how much money are you spending on this shit, right?
Oh, God.
And then just random shit, right? Okay, for example, caffeine and creatine both deplete your body of calcium, right? So if you're not getting enough calcium, and then magnesium, potassium, all these other things, and you combine creatine and caffeine, it's a recipe for disaster. Torn muscles.
Oh, yeah. I've had that, especially when you overdrink alcohol. And then multiple weekends in a row as a college student. And then you're still taking high amounts of creatine for sports performance. This is stories I've heard for myself and as well for you. So come on, give me a little bit about that.
Well, okay. I'm going to throw myself under the bus with this one. But when I was running collegiate track, it was really common practice prior to an event, to both creatine load and dehydrate at the same time.
Oh, God.
To try to increase power to weight ratio. And then the day of, usually we caffeine fast. That means don't take any caffeine for 3 or 4 days out of competition.
That's a fat headache.
And then the day of competition, would pop NODOs, right? 200 milligrams of caffeine. You break those pills in half, you get 100 at a time. So we might go as high as 500 milligrams of caffeine. Sipping on Gatorade here and there just to prevent muscle cramps. I personally tore my right hamstring doing that.
God.
I was at a race at Cal State Fullerton, and what I thought was the gun going off for a false start was actually the sound
of this before.
A competitor's Achilles tendon ripping, and it sounded like a freaking gunshot. And he was on the field gripping his calf. Now, if you want those kind of injuries, take pre-workouts when you're dehydrated.
Oh God.
And to throw another word of caution, pre-workouts combined with, say, allergy medication or sinus medication, Mucinex or pseudoephedrine or anything like that will further dehydrate you. And my older brother, actually lost his license for a year because he had seizures combining allergy medication, alcohol, and Red Bull. So,
oh God.
just so that you know, it's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous.
Stick to moderations, people. Stick to moderations. And don't try to overload, sounds like, right before a race. I don't think you should do those. No-dos? No-do.
No dose. Although they are good to have in the glove box of your car if you're on a long road trip.
Done that.
And then just gives me into another point. What would you rather be? Aggro or lovable? Dudes. You know, like, if you're trying to gain chicks, like, is a chick gonna love you if you're aggro or if you're lovable, right? If you're caffeinated to the gills, will she love you more than if you're chill like a mother?
So for me, I don't really think I have any great stories. I used to take a lot of Explode on an empty stomach. And I haven't torn anything like that, so I don't have any great stories like that. Although I do have aches and pains years later from just, progressive overload too much. So I used to, my friend it was called like Black Mamba. So we would do something like that. I think it's called the Black Mamba. But we had these Tuesdays and Thursdays workouts with our track coach that we would go to at 6 a.m. Empty stomach, anyways. So scoop of the Black Mamba, sometimes double. Depends how bad you were feeling, to be honest. So we go for these PRs or bench or squat, of course, barbell lifting out the wazoo, reaching the 400 pounds mark at like 16 years old. Really bad for your spine, it turns out, and my knees. Which is why I blew out my knee shortly afterwards. But so I have both sharp my pants and passed out while lifting during those times on a Tuesday, Thursday, Black Mamba hype. So that's pretty much all I have. I don't have any elaborate stories because it's a little bit not that special, but...
Let me give you some other kind of warnings here and things to think about, because though it says it on the container, a lot of the outside container of these pre-workouts, one is know how much caffeine you're getting per serving or per half serving or whatever. The other is a lot of pre-workouts have vasodilators, right? So those vasodilators, after your workout, say you're all amped up and you're like, okay, I'm going to chill out now by having beer or vodka tonic or red wine. So your blood is already thin. You consume alcohol. The alcohol reacts with the nitric oxide, vasodilators that are already in your system. And now your blood becomes extraordinarily thin. So it can lead to bruising, you could fall, you could cut yourself. You're now basically a hemophiliac chemically induced hemophiliac. You can cause strokes. You can rupture blood vessels in your eyes, ears, nose. Sexual performance wise, right? So everyone loves the pre-workouts because they give you the stiff Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
But then you start drinking because you're nervous, because you're too aggro and you're out on a date and you want to be more lovable. You see where we're going with this? So you start drinking and you got your pre-workout. Now Mr. Wiggly is too...
I don't like the sound of that.
I know. And then the other thing...
I've done that.
And I have to admit, because I've done this on accident, combine, say, Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, pre-workout, and then have a few cocktails. Recipe for disaster. And I feel like I'm a fairly smart person. I've been on the other end of that stick going, I may have to go to the hospital to get my penis drained. Luckily... And this is a topic for another video. If you ever want to hear this story, I will tell you the story of 48 Hours in Hell. And it's what not to do. And I had to learn the hard way.
All right. Well, we're going to refer back to this to make another video on 48 Hours of Hell. So again, folks, moderations. Don't go overdose on caffeine. Stop doing illegal pre-workouts. It's stupid. If you got a bloody nose, you probably messed up along the way.
Less is more.
Be lovable.
Be lovable. We're going to do another video coming up on simple, effective ways to increase your workout performance, regardless of the time of day that you're working out. For example, we just said that if you work out at night, it's probably not a good idea to caffeinate up if you're hoping to sleep. But are there caffeine-free ways to give yourself a little boost?
Oh, yeah.
The answer is yes, of course. Absolutely. Be smart. Do you need to put anything into your body at all? So we'll cover ways that instead of exogenous stimulation, we'll use endogenous stimulation, i.e. breath work, pranayama, ways to get your natural endorphins going to amp you up, and then we'll teach you breath work to bring you back down, safe and effective, no chemicals, no compounds, leaving you lovable. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, smash that button, rub it, punch it, love it.
Schultz is strong over and out.
Schultz is strong all day long.